I'm getting tired of looking at her naked, and that's something I never thought I would say, but that's how I feel about my 1970 Dodge Dart Swinger without the iconic bumblebee stripe. It's not what you see in your mind when you think about these cars. Unfortunately, I have a set of stripe kit from Phoenix Graphics. They are black, and the very first thing I'm going to do is just unroll them and lay them out flat so I don't have to fight against this. So I'll let it sit for a couple days out of the packaging. So I'm just going to let the graphics sit for a while. I'll do a few other projects, and then I'll come back and I'll wash the car, get it spotless. The stripes need to be separated because they come all on one sheet. Okay, the car is washed. You can see it's a little bit wet, and that's okay because I want it wet. I'm going to be applying my vinyl on wet so I can move and slide things around and squeegee out the water. You can put these on dry, but it's not something I'm going to do because I'm by myself, and I want it to be more forgiving, and so I'm going to do it wet. I'm not happy with the results, so I'm ripping it off, and there goes $50 and about 2 hours of my time. Okay, so it looks exactly like it did before I put the stripe on, and I wasn't impressed with my work. There were some funny things going on my transition. I used a razor blade and I tried to make a cut there and fold the vinyl in, and it really didn't sit properly. And I had another problem. I just didn't feel like I was able to hold that same angle as the rear, and it just looked wrong, and I couldn't move it anymore, and so I took it off, and I ended up only doing this part and not carrying on to the other side and then completing the trunk piece. So the good news is, you know, I learned something. I'm really good at painting and sanding and wrenching on things, but vinyl is not my strong suit. I think I'm going to get some help next time, or just hire a professional to do it properly for me.
Man, this is awesome. I didn't even give her one.
And I pulled over and I noticed my temperature is climbing, and it wasn't doing that on the first drive or on all my test runs. So you can have a look at my temperature, and when I checked my fuses, my electric fan fuse was blown, and when I look at my electric fan, I can't even turn the blades on it. It's just toast. So that's why I can't cool this engine at the moment, because my fan is just seized right up. Okay, so I made it back home without a rad fan. I waited till it was cooler and just kept my speed up and RPM low, and my temperature has got up to about 220, 230 Fahrenheit, and I can hear it actually boiling right now, or pretty close to boiling point. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. I only got to use this fan for about 3 drives and it failed. There must be some sort of warranty. So I went ahead and I emailed the store and with my purchase information, and here's the response that I got. Hi Chad, unfortunately warranty only covers the product if it didn't work or was damaged when received. Not only that, but this manufacturer won't cover or reimburse shipping costs for warranty, which means you would have to pay to ship it back to RPC in the US, and you would have to pay to cover shipping for a new unit. And the $40 we paid in shipping to get you the item in the first place isn't covered. So even if this was covered under warranty, the cost wouldn't make it worth it. Many manufacturers have a limited warranty on electrical items, only covering it if it does not work out of the box. Sorry about that. I would offer to sell you a replacement for our cost, but our cost is higher than what you paid. We actually lost $10 on the sale due to the high shipping costs, which was $40, as we only had $15 rolled into the price for shipping, so we ended up losing on the original sale to you. We try not to ask for added shipping fees unless absolutely necessary, so we didn't contact you, we just took a loss in the sale. Thanks, Chad. So I decided I'd spend a little bit more money, avoid something offshore, and I needed a 16-inch fan because that's all it's really going to fit, and so I chose Flexolite. And you can see it's built in the USA. This one happens to be reversible, but I'm going to use it as a puller, and it's going to have straight blades. Looking at the fan specs, I see that I have an 11 amp draw, so I am going to use a 15 amp fuse. That way I got enough power for it, and I'm not going to allow it to have too much and get fried. On the Flexolite fan, the mounting tabs, the hardware is much better, and the fan is rock solid. It doesn't move, and it has a 1-year warranty. Okay, new fan, let's test it out. Okay, so it's time for me to go and test out my Flexolite fan and see if it's going to cool the car the way I hope it does. And the car's been sitting for a while, so it's going to have a brutal time starting up. The cold starts are always fun on carbureted cars. probably bring the temperature down a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't get any higher than where it's at. Okay, so my car, I painted it and it looks pretty good, but it's still not finished. You can see the weather stripping around the window and the clips exposed. It's a very unfinished look, and there are chrome trim pieces that go around it, and I haven't put them back on because they aren't pretty enough yet. And you know, here's an example of some chrome trim I've taken off the car. You can see it's got, you know, blue overspray on it from whoever painted this car the last time. And you know, it's got primer on it too. It's got all sorts of adhesive gunk. And I'm going to take some steel wool, and I'm going to take some Scotch-Brite, and I'm going to use some lacquer thinner and get all that off, and then I'll polish them up, and then I'll be ready to reinstall them. About an hour, got all my trim pieces cleaned up, but I was going to put them on, but I'm chickening out because I don't want to scratch my nice paint job, and having an extra set of hands here to protect it, I think will go a long way. Okay, so I've been breaking this car in, driving it a little bit, varying my RPM, not being overly hard on it, and I'm trying to also just use it as a car. So it's kind of mission today is to go and get a pizza, and so that's what I'm gonna do. Well, I've got the pizza. Now I just have to see if I can make it home. So my temperature's got up to 190 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm taking my sister for a ride for the first time. She's from Kansas City, Missouri. And just bottomed out on a speed bump. This is the one thing that I cannot pass, the service station. Okay, so I drove without a kickdown linkage for a little while, and I did that because I was just testing out my engine and I kept swapping carbs, and I didn't want to have to play around with that. But I realized it's not good for the car, so I put it back on. And I noticed that I'm having a problem with it. It didn't want to move freely. There's some sort of binding, so my linkage goes back all the way, but it doesn't always come forward. It needs to move smoothly, but it doesn't always move smoothly. And I found the problem underneath the car. Let me show it to you. Here, my top kickdown linkage catches against my shifter cable. So I don't know if I can show it to you in this video or not, but sometimes it moves free like this. Other times it catches. So you can see it's caught here now. I can't move it. When I pull it away, Now it's clear. So you can see that my top kickdown linkage needs to be able to move freely without catching my transmission cable. And they're too close right in here. And so what I need to do is get this up and out of the way so that doesn't happen anymore. And partly the reason why is this stud here is bent downwards when it should be straight. It's a very small angle, but it looks like it needs some help there. My starter relay down here has a wire, brown wire goes to the neutral safety switch, and it doesn't always work. So I rigged up another wire to ground for those times when it's not working properly and I need to start the car in emergency. So it's not good to bypass your neutral safety switch. And so I'm going to crawl underneath and I'm going to fix that while I'm underneath there fixing my kickdown linkage. Okay, so I've got enough clearance that they don't touch each other anymore. It's very close, but they're not hitting each other. While I'm under here, I'm going to take a look at my neutral safety switch here, because sometimes it doesn't work very well and I have to bypass it. So I want to have a look at this old harness and run some tests on it. My neutral safety, it doesn't look like it's really corroded, but it's a bit dirty with oil. I'll clean it out and plug it back in. Really done a lot of cleanup on that wiring harness, and I'm hoping that my neutral safety switch is going to work. So with the car in park, I'm going to try and see if it'll crank. And it starts right up. So that is cool. Now I'm going to put it in gear. And there's a no start. And that's exactly how it should work. So I think I got her pegged. You know, doing what I did before is not a smart idea. It's a get you out of a jam type situation, because you don't want your car to be able to start when it's in gear and hurt yourself or somebody else. That's why they designed this whole system. So basically that starter relay is looking for a ground through your transmission in order to work. And so it gets that ground when it's in park or in neutral, the way it's designed inside there somehow. And so now that system works properly, and I can operate it safely. You'd never be allowed to go to a sanctioned event or a racetrack or anything, because when you do a tech inspection, that's the first thing they're going to check on the car, is to make sure that particular safety feature works. And I always wondered why they had this slot in the kickdown linkage, why they wouldn't just be a solid hole that rides along with it. But the truth is, it's actually brilliant. So if your kickdown linkage were to ever get stuck, your throttle wouldn't be maxed out stuck with it. It allows, that slot in the shaft allows your throttle to return to idle. And so it's a totally important safety thing that Chrysler did. Okay, so in this episode you got to see what it's like to own a 54-year-old car. Seems like there's always something to fix. And that's just part of the hobby and part of the fun of it. And so I had all these challenges pop up and I conquered them all. And now I can go out and enjoy more driving, and I can film some cool stuff and build on it for you. So I hope you stay tuned to my show. We're going to have more events, other cars, just cool stuff around the Okanagan in the hobby. And stay tuned. Thanks for watching.